The challenge number 3 is pretty similar to the previous challenge. The only difference is this time we are going to create these methods in city location controller class. The first method is get recent status changes, and in this method we need to query all the location records, and then we need to sort them by status update date and limit our search result by 100. So let's go to our developer console and open our location object so that we can build our SQL query. And we need to select ID, name, address, pin code, red score, status update date and status field, and click on query. And this time again we need to sort them by the status update date, so we are going to have the order by close. Let's do that. And then we need to make sure that nulls are placed in the end, so I'm going to use nulls last keyword as well. And then we need to limit our search result by 100. Quickly run this query just to make sure that we do not have any errors in this. And we can also make sure if the query is working fine or not. For that we need to create some records in our location object. Click on new button here and let's create some dummy location records. So I've created 3 dummy location record, and now if you go to your developer console and click on refresh grid, now we see 3 location records. So I'm going to populate this status update date as well for 2 of them. And now this time if you click on refresh grid, you would see that nulls are placed in the end, but our status update date sorting is not working correctly because we need to sort them in descending order. And the reason is we haven't written the descending keyword in our SQL query. So let's write down DESC after our order by close and click on execute again. And this time our results are sorted by status update date in descending order. So let's create this method in our city location controller class. So let's go to the VS Code, open city location controller class, and we are going to create our method here. So it will be like public static list of location this time, and then the name of the method is get recent status changes. And in this method we are going to return the output of this query. So copy this query from developer console and paste it here. So this should be our method number 1. In the method number 2, we need to create a method like search locations which accepts a search term, and we need to match this search term with name, pin code and address. So let's go to developer console, or maybe like we can directly do it in our VS Code itself. So I'm going to copy this method name. Let's go to VS Code and create our second method. This again will return the list of location record, and the name of the method is search location, and it's going to accept a string parameter which we'll call search term. And we need to query the location records. So I'm going to copy the query that we have written in the previous method and I'm going to paste it. Now the only difference here would be is like we need to have a where condition and we don't need this limit keyword. Let's add a where condition here on the name field, where name is like the search term or pin code is matching the search term or address matches the search term. We also need to make sure that we add our wildcard here. So I'm going to modify this search term string before I pass it to my SQL query, and I'm going to add a wildcard in the end. So this will be our method number 2. Now let's go back to the requirements, and in the method number 3 we need to create a method to get a location by the location ID. So what I'll do this time, let's copy this method name and let's create this method here, and this time we only need to return the location object record instead of returning the list of locations, and this is going to accept a string parameter which will be location ID. Now here we can again copy the same query, but we'll modify the where condition. First I'm going to format my code. I'm going to write my query in multiple lines so that it's easier to read. Now we don't need the order by clause or limit keyword in this query because we are only going to retrieve one record. So our where condition is the ID is equals to the location ID. Now as we have done in our person controller class as well, we need to make sure that we get the return of the query in a list of location object, and then we'll check if the list is not empty, and if it's not, then we are going to return the first element from that list. So I'm not going to directly return the output of this query. What I'll do, I'll first accept the output in a list of location records, and let's call it like locations. And here first we are going to check if locations is not null so that we don't hit any kind of exceptions in our code, and if locations dot size is greater than 0. If that is the case, then let's return the 0th element from this list. If not, then we are going to return null. Now you must be asking why I'm storing the result in a list first and then returning it this way, because since we are matching it by the ID, we'll always get one record in return. The reason is sometimes the ID could be invalid, and in that case you may hit a exception here that there is no record found and it cannot assign it to a location record. So if you are using a list of location record, even if the query returns 0 record, you will not hit the exceptions. But if you'll do something like this, like only location object, then you may hit the exception sometime. So it's better that we get list of location, and then from there we can pass the 0th element. So I think this is our challenge number 3, and I'll paste some comments in this code. And now we can deploy our changes to our Salesforce org. So right click on this class and click on deploy this source to org. So our deployment is successful. That means our code doesn't have any errors. So this is all about challenge number 3. In the next video, we are going to discuss challenge number 4.